I've often ripped you and your Flames team from what 06 for playing one of the worst or the worst Game 7.
Yeah, it was a really bad one
at home in playoff history.
It was up there. Yeah.
Is that the Chicago?
No,
Anaheim. Yeah,
Anaheim.
Still bad.
Oh, you can't change it now. It's just in the past.
Yeah, it just maybe slides down a little.
Did you do one of these ones, or you?
And your rankings.
Yeah, just
you
in
take
terms
the crown
of
and you hand it to the 25
worst,
Leafs.
Yeah, worst home ice performances
in Game 7 history.
In a Game 7.
Yeah.
In fact, it ties the largest margin of defeat by any home team in a Game 7.
The one we saw yesterday.
That's right. That 6-1 drubbing, whatever you want to call it, as the Panthers move on, the Leafs are done.
Another 6-1, eh?
Yeah. Because their Game 5, similarly at home, not 6-1. Great, Bob. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they rebounded and
they found a way to get it to 7.
Which we requested. We said, look, it can't be peak chaos unless they go win in Florida, get people to believe again, and then let them down again. And they did that. They're an entertaining team.
There are some who are taking great pleasure in it. There are some who are devastated by it. Rhett, I'll start with you. How would you characterize your emotions and mood for the Leafs, about the Leafs after this collapse?
Well, much like the Leafs in Game 7, I'm indifferent.
Oh, yeah, that hurts.
Right.
I actually, I guess I would say this was the one year I was kind of, I'm not cheering for the Leafs ever, but I was almost hoping they won because
let's prove the naysayers wrong, right?
Yeah, just
who doesn't like something new?
It's different.
Yeah,
it's different. So I was okay with it. And I actually was thinking an Edmonton Oilers final would be highly entertaining.
They play entertaining hockey, so
right? Like it would be, the games would be entertaining, and the atmospheres would be entertaining, and the Oilers fans beating up the Leafs fans would be entertaining.
They only beat up each other.
Oh,
that we've learned about the Oilers fans.
That is true. Friendly fire.
I didn't know that part, but either way.
Yeah.
Self-hate policy.
And the hell that one team would have to go through at the end of that series, also entertaining.
It would be great hockey to watch those two, and you've got a lot of great storylines. Yeah, they're just not good.
Your emotions.
Guess what?
Well, I mean, so my thought is, look, this is the end for Marner there, in my opinion, and I think it's probably the end of Brendan Shanahan, which we don't really know exactly what he does, but he's been there forever, making a lot of money,
back and forth,
avoiding bullets. Hiring and firing a lot of different people, but look, they weren't one of the top 4 teams in the league. Are they a bad team? Absolutely not. Are they a good team? Yeah, I think they are. Did they lose to the defending champs who were absolutely built for Game 7s? Yeah, they did. Was it really ugly? Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean that they can't ever win. I just think
so. What
as a result of that loss, you're going to construct things very differently. I think Mitch Marner's played his last game there.
Yeah, I think that this collection of players weren't going to win together. That seems clear. Back-to-back beatings on home ice in the fashion that they took was, hey, they're a good team. They're just not built right for what you need to be built for.
Or they're
in the playoffs.
The 5th best team in the league. You could argue. I'd accept that.
Yeah, that's fine. But if that's,
if
that's what the goal is, to be top 5, then success. But if you want to get past round 2 ever,
that's gonna be tough.
Then, and the good thing for them is there won't be a so close, a bounce another way, or just
not in those home games. No, you can go back to Game 3 and play that game a bit when you're up 2-0, ready for a 3-0 stranglehold, but not in games 5 and 7.
Yeah, it could have certainly throughout the series have gone differently. So
the first 25 shot attempts of the game, all Florida. That's insane.
Yeah. So you got home and you got the crowd behind you,
right,
and the other team saying, "Let's just weather the storm."
Yeah, you're just going to survive those first 5. Shit, this is actually going pretty well.
Yeah, we may as well just go get this if that's how this is going to go. Yeah, wild.
So what are they?
They're not
good enough.
Yeah. They're a team that's going to make some serious changes, but they remind me of the Sharks, Rhett. Remember how many years we saw the Sharks in the playoffs? Like 15 out of 16 years. And they were always very good, and they had high-end talent, but it was always just, they can't get over the hump in the playoffs. And then when the year where it looked like everything would line up, Erik Karlsson's playing on one leg, and they blow a lead to St. Louis.
I would my word of caution for Leafs fans or whatever. Yep, throw Marner out with the bathwater. That's great. I'm not convinced that's enough.
No, you have to go supplement. Addition by subtraction doesn't work. It's using that Marner money to go improve this roster for the playoffs.
I'm saying your other top dogs were bullshit too.
Matthews was not good. Well, I know they'll have their exit meetings and
they're doing it today right now. Yeah.
But you know what?
Nylander was better, but I think we give Nylander a passing grade because he's got a swagger about him. What the fuck did he do in that game? Sorry, I was working.
Yeah.
Good chance early, couldn't finish it. That would have put them up 1-0 despite being, as we talked
thought they were outshot.
They were. It was right after that. They weathered that storm at 0-0, and they have 2 really good chances. Bob, here's the other thing no one talks about there. Like, we're talking about 9 years of failures. Who's the best goalie they've ever run in 9 years in the playoffs? And is it anyone close to a top goalie in the league?
So exactly. So get rid of Marner. Great. Who's the top?
And Tavares was great this year. Then he gets hurt. Wool was great last year. Then he gets hurt. It's 2 years in a row. Their number one goalie's been hurt when it mattered.
Would they go sign?
Tavares.
No, a couple years ago, Matt Murray.
They brought Matt Murray in. I think it was part of getting money out from something else. It was a trade with Ottawa, if I'm correct.
Is it Campbell?
Campbell, they let go because Edmonton signed him. They had Samsonov for a year. Like, it's kind of just been guys in net where it's like, if you're going to face Vasilevsky, Bobrovsky, or Rask every fucking spring, I'm not surprised they didn't win a lot of those series.
Yeah, that's the other part of it.
No one talks about the goalies. Like, Freddie Anderson was the best guy they had, but then he'd be hurt when it mattered. So you've gone a decade, and everyone points to these 4 guys who have not been great, but the rest of the roster gets caved in because they're spending so much money on those 4 guys. And they've never had an elite goalie. And when it looks like they do, they're hurt. Stolarz this year, Freddie Anderson 5 years ago, Wool last year against Boston when they were in control of that series.
It would be one of those things too, though. If the goalies were not great, but Marner and Matthews and those guys were
that's part of
going all out through a wall.
The mix is off.
But
the mix is off.
It's a collection of all of the above for
I
sure.
agree.
So
do any of those guys come across as selfish?
I don't know if it's selfish necessarily,
Really?
but like, they don't come across as ultimate team playoff leader guys. I'll say that. And that's what you would.
That's an
opposite.
understatement.
Yeah, no,
for sure.
Like, when you look at that Florida team and you look at them,
not be mean.
Yeah.
Sure, that's a nice way of saying.
like, I don't know if it's selfish, but they just don't feel like
they give a shit about their teammates and winning.
I think they probably care a lot, just not nearly as much as
It
the
just
Florida
looks like
guys,
they're. It's not soft. It just looks like they're easily overwhelmed.
I think it is
because
kinda
when
soft, to be
things,
fair.
when it does not take much to get the floodgates wide open on that team when things start to go south and a big opportunity.
And that's what Berube said post game. He's like, the caliber of player here is not a problem. It's between our ears is the issue. We have 2 home games that are huge with great opportunities to either take a commanding lead in a series or put a team away. And those are your 2 worst games you might have played in 6 months. You get shelled in both of them. That's between the ears. That's not a lack of talent. It's not a roster construct issue. That's a between the ears issue.
And again, I'm going to take the easy
you can call
road.
that selfish. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, and I was just going to say also, it's I think that mix is way off now after watching it. They looked good, and then when the pressure came on again, they were terrible.
So
terrible.
I agree, and I think it's like similar to what we've seen in 9 years, but I think they're closer than they've been in a weird way because I like their blue line a lot more for the
Marchand
playoffs.
said the same thing, and yes, they're built differently, but so Marner leaves.
Yeah, like
who's your stud goaltender? Is it Stolarz? He had a good year. I don't know. Is it? You hope. And okay, Marner's gone, so it's not the same guys. Well, yes, Nylander's the best of that group. I think in the playoffs, but it's still not impressive. Where's he on the list of Conn Smythe winners?
Because in there as
well, he's never through the second round.
I know, but you know what I'm saying.
I get it, man. He's only great because you're comparing him to Marner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when is Matt? Oh, he's probably hurt. Well, Christ,
again,
when's that going to end? Like,
it is. It's such a team game, and when you're part of a winner, like right now, anyone that's a Florida Panther, you're a dog. You know how to win, right? You're part of this culture and all of that. And when you're part of a loser, so you a bunch of soft babies. Morgan Riley deserves a share of that as well. He's been there a long time.
Tough year.
And yeah, it's 2 playoff series wins in 9 years. 0 for 6 in game 7s. 0 for 7 in winner take. We saw what their record was with
0 for 8 now.
The ability to punch somebody out in a eliminate
games.
your opponent type of a game.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't seem to have it. And it doesn't make all of them bad players or the whole thing. But and the thing about it is with guaranteed contracts, sometimes they haven't really been in a position to do anything. You're kind of pot committed with Matthews and Nylander and all of that. Wow. All right, Marner, you're getting his money back. He's going to leave. It's 100 points in the regular season that you may care about, potentially. I'll ask you this. Do you bring back John Tavares?
Depends on the cost.
Yeah, I'd bring him back as long as the money's not crazy and the term's not crazy. And slot him as your 3C because he's a really good third line center.
And that's easy for us to say.
Yeah.
Because,
we don't know.
But if you feel like
he's part of the
$3 million,
I don't think he's a problem.
Yeah, like I'll say, but does he bring you closer to where you want to be? You've seen him in these scenarios. He's going to be another 1, 2, 3 years older.
I don't know, 3 something, maybe a little more. I seriously, I would bring him back because I don't think you can,
because there's two ways to
find a replacement for him.
I don't think I want to find a replacement. And sorry, jumping, but I'm probably saying what you're going to say. I'd let him. I'm not afraid of letting him go either. It better be one hell of a deal.
Is a good value? Does it make? Is it helping us fix what's wrong with us? If you're bringing back another guy, this is not where we want to be. The ultimate thing. I'll just finish. The ultimate. We know we're broken. We need to be fixed. Yeah, but it's a good. We'll bring him back. Well, that value deal's great, but does
that would be the question? Is those guys got to know in the room who's important and what keeps. I don't. When you watch this and these results, I don't think the room is great to begin with, because I just said it. I think there's a bunch of leadership guys that don't give a shit how the other guys do, really. Yes, and that's overstating it and being a bit harsh. I'm sure they care to a certain extent, but I don't think that any of them, maybe Tavares would be the one guy that I would think out of those 4 guys you always talk about, Tavares, Marner, Matthews, and Nylander. Which one of those is up? Which one of those guys is up at 3 a.m. stressed out about how the guy in the 4th line is doing?
I would bring him back, and I would be more focused about what you're replacing Marner with, because I don't think they're like totally wrong and flawed. Like, I think if they had Carolina's bracket, they could be in the Final Four. I think they could beat Washington, and I think they could beat New Jersey. It just so happens every year they run into Tampa, Florida. This doesn't need a massive overhaul. I think something as simple as Sam Bennett in for Marner changes how you feel about this group. And if you can slot Tavares as your 3rd line center, Bennett as your 2, and Matthews as your 1, you might have won this series. Like, it's that close, right? You just need 1 or 2 more playoff dogs. They're not awful. Like, you could probably make a really sound case. They're the 4th to 6th best team in this league. Don't start throwing everything away. Marner, absolutely, it's time to make a decision. He's out of here. But you need to go bring in a dog that thrives this time of year. And Sam Bennett just happens to be from Ontario and is a UFA this summer. And he's not going to cost as much as Marner. Just isn't.
Well, he's going to have nowhere near the points.
Correct. But he will in the playoffs.
Best case, he will have half of the points.
But he has more in the playoffs. This is my whole point. We talked about it last week.
Will he there?
Yes,
he does.
Absolutely.
He does in Florida.
He does everywhere. He had more points in the playoffs in Calgary.
But I know your rant. Just slow down for a sec. He's on a very special team in Florida. Is he going to? What you're saying? He's going to replicate that in Toronto with everything else that you've seen. We're talking about 2 very ends of the spectrum. Culture, champions, know how to win.
Did Sam perform and put up points
Jello on a wall?
Here? Yeah, he did.
Well, again, compared to what was around him, he was the best, and the rest was.
So that's the type of guy they should be looking for.
I don't disagree. If you think he's going to go in there, I would caution a little bit.
It's not about points for me in the playoffs with him. It's about the style of player that can set the tone in a series. That's what Sam Bennett has and what the Leafs don't have. I'm not worried about his point total. And like, you're right. You are going to have, a 50-point drop from Marner to Bennett. Most of the last 5 years, it's been about that. That's how much more Marner gives you in the regular season. So are you ready to shave off 4 to 8 points in the standings in the regular season? Yeah, you might not have as easy a path. You don't win the division, but I like you way more in a 7-game series with Sam Bennett than Mitch Marner.
Is there any part of you that not feels, but is there maybe undue criticism or too much being thrown at Marner? Because it feels like, to your point, Nylander skates a bit. Matthews, he must be hurt. It kind of gets away with
too much history of it.
Decades.
And I want to be a Leaf and I love it here. And I want to. Well, you didn't, and you're holding the Leafs up. You're holding them hostage when they've got a trade to make, and you won't take. No, I don't feel anything for her. No, that's him. I don't at all. And I don't think, then that doesn't mean that Matthews and Nylander and Tavares shouldn't get 2 barrels either. But I think Marner's track record puts him in the firing squad, right? Like,
and he's due to make a lot of money, guys. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like Matthew Knies is going to be an offer sheet threat if they don't have him signed by July. And they know what that number is going to look like because you can look at the compensation chart and see where it goes from a first to 2 firsts to 4 firsts, where it's just a second and a third, a first and a third. Like, you can understand the band where he's going to get paid because of how good he is. You got to get him under contract. You got to find someone like Bennett to come in and play 2C. And like, you can't do that. Mitch Marner becomes a luxury. They already have fancy winners.
Oh, there's no, I mean, Marner wants the big dough. And they can't bring it. There's many reasons.
But that's the problem with the Marner guy is that I want to be paid like I'm a top 5, top 10 guy in the NHL, and then you don't perform and when we need you. Like,
in the regular season, he has been that guy. He just hasn't in the playoffs.
I don't want you.
3 shots in the final 5 games of the series. Was a -5 in the 4 Panther victories.
Just at least he didn't melt down again in an elimination game. Screaming at the bench.
Boy, that's a tough one.
It's a tough
2 years in a row. Remember last year, it's he and Matthews and Nylander all caddy on the bench.
But that's my point about it all, is that you might be right. So, and it's awesome that they played Florida, because I don't think they're certainly talented, but I don't know that they're more talented than the Leafs. But what do they have?
Yeah, it's a pedigree of winners.
They have a pedigree. They have a culture.
And it's a style of play.
They don't have a bunch of guys bitching and moaning and worrying. And I don't know. A lot of those top guys look like, I said it to you, they don't look like guys that are concerned with the betterment of the team.
They don't look like win at all cost guys, right?
You think
at any cost, at any price, I'll do.
Barkov gives a shit if he gets a point?
Yeah.
No.
But do you think he cares if he does? Like, you don't question. So everyone's like, wow, just because he didn't. No. You can watch a game and understand who cares. You can see it in their play and their effort.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys don't.
It's not in the same neighborhood as Florida. That's for sure.
Because you look at a guy like Sam Reinhart. And I don't know what you think of him. If he were in Toronto, would he be one of those guys, probably a little soft and can't step up?
Maybe, yeah.
He's a great regular season performer. His numbers don't hold up in the playoffs to the same extent of his regular season numbers, but he's part of that. He's part of that group, and it works.
Do they feel like a band of brothers in Toronto?
No.
And do they in Florida?
Yes.
Yeah. And I guess that's
in Tampa when they won.
Yes.
In Chicago when they won.
Yes.
And in LA when they won.
Yes.
Pittsburgh. Like,
yes.
Detroit going
away.
Like,
and you know what? This is where we were at with Washington before they won. And they only got one, but it's like, it is so hard to win this bleeping trophy. And you're going to have to go up against a team like Florida that is so battle tested. And then if you lose, it's like, yeah, well, you guys are losers. It's like, they might have the 3rd best team in the league. They really might. It is more better than Florida. Like, I don't know if did they beat Carolina in a series? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Probably not. But I think they could be in Carolina's spot. I think they beat Washington, New Jersey. Like, I don't know. Could they have won that series with a healthy Stellaris? Yeah, they probably could have, but sure didn't look good in games 5 and 7. You could have used him in game 3 when you're up 2-0, and he could have barred the door to give you a 3-0 series lead. He was hurt.
Because game 3 was the overtime Marchand goal, was it not?
Game 3, they're up 2-0, up 2-0 in the series.
You were a goal away from 3-0.
Yeah.
Speaking of Marchand, 5-0 in playoff series against Toronto.
Just owns
all 5 went to game 7s.
And so if you're Treliving and you've got all of a sudden this theoretical $12 to $14 million of Marner money, like, would you chase Marchand?
And Bennett.
And because obviously he has to want to go there. That's a totally separate thing. But would you put a lot of effort behind going to get that guy? Because they wanted Tanev as much as a lot of other teams. They just said, look, we'll give him 1 million years. We know he's going to be broken. We'll just LTIR him.
Yeah.
Maybe they do the same thing with Marchand. We're like, well, what's the AAV you want? We'll give you more years than anyone else, and we'll just put you on Robota Island when you're broke.
Marchand, 8 points in the 7 games. Not a bad little ad. I guess the other thing is, too, and it was, if you have any pride, if you're a Leaf fan or whatever, the sympathy tour that the Panthers went on post-game, and even the next day, Boy, I feel for these
This
players.
city's
It's
so
tough,
tough.
in Toronto.
Gosh.
It's so hard. They're a good team. These guys, they try really hard. I feel
It
bad.
was different this year. It was
Oh,
a different
man.
group. Yeah.
If I were Treliving or Shanahan, I'd walk in there and upset the table. Just shut the fuck up about how
we
hard
don't.
it is for us.
I'd be downloading.
Take
the
your
content
win
on my
and get out of
laptop.
here. Jeez. Have Paul Maurice. Oh, yeah, hey, there's nothing to be upset about over there. That's a good team.
We just got a couple bounces. That's the only difference.
This is making it worse, Paul. I know you're trying to help, but you're not helping. Dig up.
No.
Stupid. I think we have the Maurice.
None of you are going to listen to me on this, but I would caution you from applying or assigning you guys are going to do it anyway. Those games are so tight. The emotion, the build up to the games, right? Like when we score the first goal, we own the first 10 minutes of the first period. They own the second 10 minutes. That's it. Both teams were. If you flip it, you'd say, "Oh, they came out right." Well, we came out right. They found the answer to come back at us. That's the truth, right? We scored a goal, and then we got those two, and it's just a puck to the net. It's not. It's so much closer than you think, but you're going to kill these guys, and they don't deserve it. That's 7 games, and we played well. I didn't like our first period in game 1. We played well in the 2 losses.
And I don't think what he's saying is wrong, but it's just you can't watch 9 years of this and not think there's something deeper.
Yeah. So in
the DNA of this Toronto.
in this seven games under a microscope, okay, yeah, it was close, but they did lose a combined 12 goals to 2 on home ice.
Their last 2 home games.
In their last 2 home games, and it's been 9 years. So yeah.
Yep. And there is risk that you throw out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak, and Marner goes on to have great success. You just haven't seen it yet.
Sam Bennett wasn't going to have the same success here as he's had in Florida. It's a different comparable.
Yeah, I think he'll do great.
I think there's a lot of those players. Teams will look back and be, oh, well, they had this guy. What were they? It was the same with Kessel, right? Kessel kind of goes, well, yeah, is in a different role around a team that's got a lot of very good players as well. 2 cups?
They got to change the
3.
mix.
Because you won in Vegas too.
Close or not, you still have to change the mix.
And I don't know. Like this is just
like under what circumstance do you bring Marner back?
You don't. It's done. You're not
done.
But I don't even think it's the type of player necessarily. There's just times when it's so obvious that for a player at a time in a market, a change of scenery is going to be best. And we knew that about Bennett here, and we know that's going to happen with Marner now. And you probably felt the same way about Jack Eichel when he and Buffalo were fighting against the owner and player and agent, yelling at each other like, "Get this guy out of here! He's going to be great somewhere else."
Yeah.
No one was surprised he was great in Vegas.
It's not that type of player. It's that human.
Yeah,
in that city right now
it's
for
the
that
situation.
team. They just can't do it.
Yeah, it's the 9 years, it's the market, it's the president, it's all the history. He's got to go.
Yeah,
and he'll probably be fine in his next stop. Should it be Calgary?
I wonder what the appetite, because we were talking with Dregs about Chicago and maybe how its preferred destination status is maybe taking a hit.
Mm-hmm.
For Toronto, is there any part of that, even for guys that are from Ontario? Is it still
I think
I really want to go there?
No, because it's like Montreal. There are certain guys that really do want to go there and play for the hometown team.
I think you'd like to be part of a solution, but you understand that you're going to a place
it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
There's no way it's on number 1 on the list. No way.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you're a Toronto guy and you're in your late 30s and you want to be close to home, I'm sure it's great. And maybe you could be part of it because that's what Thornton and Simmons and Marlowe.
I'm aware. That's what I'm saying. I'm just wondering if it's changed.
No, I think it's the same because it's the same shit. They're still.
How is it the same?
Because they're still losing.
So why? What I'm saying is, why are you going there? You seem to be as far away as you have been for any of the 9 years. You've won 2 playoff series in the. Huh?
I don't think they're farther away. I think they're closer.
They're as far away. They're not closer.
Well, so once in the last 8 years, they won a round. This was one of them. And I think you can look at what they've built on the blue line and say that's a better blue line for the playoffs. I like the 2 young goalies they've got. The cap's suddenly growing.
We're splitting hairs because
I don't think it's less appetizing than it was 3-4 years ago at all. Especially if Marner's out, there's going to be some cultural shift here.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there was a time when the GM of the team could go to July 1st and have a bit of a pick of a litter of guys that wanted to be there. I don't know how long that list
They
is
haven't really.
anymore.
The only guys they've got deals on are the really old guys.
Like,
which says something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
for someone like Austin Matthews, are you loving life there? You're not from there. Could you entertain playing somewhere else? Nylander, are you dyed in the wool Toronto guy, or could you play
Matthews
somewhere else?
was a dyed in the wool Toronto Maple Leaf, he'd have signed the max term.
Willie did. Nylander signed the big term. And I think Austin's also just being smart about making more money. Jump in every 3-4 years when the cap's going up rather than lock in for 8.
I also think too.
But if he wants to leave, like that guy's gone in a heartbeat. Like it's that simple. I think they want to win there because they know how powerful it would be. But
I think they're comfortable. And I don't think they need to be comfortable. And I don't think like
you'd like them to be more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think they will be because I think there's change coming here. Like,
how much can there be?
Well, I think Shanahan and Marner's a good start.
Like obviously Marner is out, and you can let Tavares go. But I think it was Luke Fox or somebody. You've got like David Kampf has got 2 more years. Domi's got 3 more years. They've got some depth guys who have got, they're not making big money, but they've got contracts moving forward. It's Marner, you've rebuilt your back end. Carlo comes in with term, and that's not a bad thing.
No, it's great. It's good money. He's big. He's physical. He's a playoff type guy. You look at Tanev, Carlo, McCabe, OEL.
Right.
Those are guys that like this time of year are better than the decors they've had.
But if you're going to make change, on a value deal, if Tavares is going to give you that value deal, then he's coming back. You're talking about Marner, and
I think we don't know what the makeup of the group is.
Yeah.
And we don't, right? We're sitting here in Marteloup. We're not going to know. Treliving needs to know. Shanahan's change, sure, but what's Shanahan's interaction on a daily basis?
Don't know.
I don't think he lives in Toronto, so I don't think he's around.
He's just connected to putting this group of players together.
Yeah, and because it's time to tear this core down, it's the Shanna plan.
I don't think it has an on-ice
Harley
impact for the
Hotchkiss
next
owned
year.
a team when we loved Harley, but it's not a day-to-day. I think the biggest thing is less about who leaves and who comes in.
Agreed, 100%. I don't think you need to replace 5 guys here. You just need a couple guys that set a different tone in the playoffs. And that's why I think Bennett's going to be so attractive to like 20 teams this summer.
You can't wait for the playoffs for that guy to set a tone. That guy's got to be able to come in
doesn't
and have
not set a tone in the regular season
and play. And I think there needs to be. I'm not calling for a dismantling of the Leafs because I don't. You're right; they're highly talented. Like and you can mismanage that very easily by thinking we're going in a completely different direction. But you have to have enough of a change for the leadership group and the whole core of guys to go, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so it might be as simple as a Marchand type because there's your leader.
Berube will have the biggest say.
It's year 1 of a new coach. It's year 2 of a new GM, and you're going to enter year 1 post core 4.
Can you imagine, like, under what circumstances is Marchand signing there after he's beat them like a dog for a decade and just came out and talked about how shitty it is to play there for those guys,
or just how high the pressure is? Yeah.
Well, same.
But look, I mean, if you just want to, if everyone's offering Brad Marchand, who's not young, 3-year deals, and you offer him 5, I mean, that might be it. So they got Tanev.
The Knies contract, he'll make some more money, but they got 2 massive contracts in Marner and Tavares coming off. They're going to have plenty of cap space.
Cap's going up. So between Tavares, cap growth, and Marner, you're looking at about $30 million. Like if you want to go give Sam Bennett way too much money, you can do it. I mean, I don't know that he's going to say yes or not. I don't know with Marchand or not, but to all of our points, there has to be a change in the DNA. It can't be window dressing. You need to bring someone in that changes the way leadership works in that room. And then I don't know that they're far away. I really don't.
It's complicated, but is there, under any circumstance, is there a Matthews trade to be made?
If he wants to leave, it's the only way it happens.
Which, again, let's just for the sake of this to push it forward a little bit.
Take 2 seconds to trade Austin.
Yeah, if he wants to leave, he's gone. It's done. I don't think he wants to, or he'd be gone.
Okay, so, but I'm saying take that. He's amenable to a trade. How do you make yourself better by taking out one of the best goal scorers?
I don't think you do because no one else, you can't find number 1 centers. That's what we talk about all the time here.
No.
So he's staying. Nylander's in. Like you're pot committed to at least those 2 guys.
Yeah, and like that, those are the 2 guys I'd like to be pot committed with out of the 4. because Austin Matthews, when he's right, is one of the top 2-3 finishers in the sport.
It's an amazing study to
he's a
watch
center that
that game
plays
the other
defense.
night because everyone knew. You're watching at home, you're in the building, you're on the Leafs bench, you're on the Panthers bench. When it goes 1-0 to 2-0, it's like, oh boy, you better get this next goal. 3-0, this is over.
And then they get a 3-1 and you're like, okay. And
there's over half the game left. It's like, no, this is over.
Well, and Maurice can say whatever, and maybe they did have a good second half of the first 10 minutes of a game 7.
Yeah. I mean, they had to be hiding the smirks on the bench. It's like, we're doing it to them again.
Mm-hmm.
They're shitting their pants again in front of their home team.
They've really only lost to 2 bad teams in the 9 years, but it just proves that they haven't really been able to become that elite team. Like, I think the Leafs have been a top 10 team for the last decade. They've never been able to say we're one of the best 4 or 5 on the planet, because when it gets into a 7-game series, that's where they run into the Tampa, Boston, Floridas, where you have this, each of those teams have had a core of winners that are going to the Hall of Fame. With Boston, it's Chara and Bergeron and Krejci.
Well, that's that's a Stanley Cup winning team.
No, and so my point is like, they have not been able to get to that hollowed ground where you're like, they're elite.
Hallowed.
Thank you. It's probably
They're feeling hollowed right now. They were hollowed out the other night for sure. You want to be compared to the greats, not just individually, but as a team. And we have this graphic here talking about the Leafs against another, how they compare against another. Again, they're Stanley Cup champions, and then there's the greats. Since the 05 lockout, playoff series wins, Buffalo 4, Toronto 2, Sabres haven't made the postseason in 14 years.
Ooh.
So you take a decade and a half off, and I'm still ahead of you there. Jeez.
Right?
Yeah. Hey, I've been in a coma for 15 years. How's it been going? Oh my God.
I mean, credit to Mike Bunt on doing the work here. We trust Mike Bunt's numbers.
That boy Bunster.
But that is
that's something.
So that's not 9 years. We're pushing, and maybe it's unfair. I don't know.
Why
is it
unfair?
I don't think it's unfair.
They're the biggest team. They've got the most money to spend. They're the richest team in the league.
Yeah, you don't get to strut around with the big swing and like, no, you want to be.
I'm trying to think Flames series wins since then. So you'd have 14-50 and you'd have 22 where you had Battle of Alberta.
Well, did you beat Anaheim in that game?
No,
Oh, you didn't win that one.
Not quite.
Okay.
We were trying.
Yeah, I know you were. Were you? Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of this that's going on.
The memes are memeing. I got about 1,000 more.
I figured you might,
yeah.
Which is why I didn't want to go too deep.
I knew you'd have this one. That was an instant hit on the weekend.
Yeah, I threw that one in just.
And so how's our boy Tree feeling?
I think Tree is, you know what? Here's the thing. He knows what he's got.
He's got clarity.
He knows. And that's his biggest gift.
Too, right?
That's the biggest gift he's got is expiring contracts and clarity. Yeah. Where it's not going to be, oh, you can't let Marner go. No, you're letting Marner go.
Well, I mean, if you had a clarity a year ago, you could have traded him for something. But yeah, I hear you.
Right.
You brought that up. Boy, that was a tough spot.
And it's only a year in. It's a tough spot.
Yeah, even if you wanted to, that's a tough one to pull off, depending on what the return is, I guess. But even if you were going to make it, we're getting about a 50-point guy back, but we believe come playoff time, he's going to be, they'd crucify the guy. He probably to a fault puts stock in character, toughness, playing in the playoffs, that whole thing.
Totally.
He loves those guys.
If he's going to err, he's erring on the side of grit.
So that's
succulent.
Yeah, that's what. It will be. The whole Bennett thing, and I've seen in our chat people say, "Oh, he screwed Bennett. Bennett's never going to sign there." I don't
think Bennett cares about that.
Treliving drafted him. Treliving loved Bennett. He hated to trade him. Obviously, all of that sort of thing.
And change of scenery thing we talked about.
Yeah,
exactly. Everyone knew.
People want to. Yeah, it would be interesting, and we could do it because we'll have time, Dean.
A redraft?
But I'm probably not going to because it also would be. Like, go deep into this Leafs things. Everyone's, you got to sign Knies. Okay, we got to sign Knies. What's going to take to sign Knies?
A lot.
Okay, so if you let him get offer sheeted, and get those assets in return, and have that money to go spend again, and you're already going like
now you're in a retool of sorts. So here's the thing.
No, but if you think you can get Bennett and Marchand, and Knies is leaving. Now you've got more assets to work with, and you've got the cap space.
I don't think
Chess.
he needs to lose.
Chess,
Not
checkers.
checkers.
Yeah, I know.
Dean.
I think you.
A lot of chess there.
I don't know where I sit with Tavares because you could, like you say, value deal, and it would make a lot of sense.
You don't know if
But
there's a
I
value
just-
deal.
I don't
You
know.
don't know that there's
No. But I think what you do if you're Treliving is you're like, here are parameters. The term doesn't get beyond this. The money doesn't get beyond this. And if he really wants to be here, he'll take it. And if he doesn't, we move along.
The other thing we are 100% underestimating is that it is Toronto, it is Canada, and we're talking about Bennett and Marchand. And guess what? It's way cheaper to stay in Florida.
Yeah, you have to overpay, no question. Yeah.
But you have to overpay a lot.
Yes. Yeah. Like
And
2 to
you're
3
not-
million more. Yeah.
You're not leaving a shit show in Florida. You're leaving an unbelievable
Yeah.
scenario.
So I'm
If
going
you're
to-
Sam Bennett, you're living next to your pal Matthew Kachuk. You're right by the beach. Your significant others love it there. You're going to a potentially
like
a
a-
third
That's
consecutive
the
Stanley
face.
Cup final.
The agent's phoning you. They're going, wait, what?
Is this Treliving on my phone?
But the only reason we're talking about it is it's not done yet.
Hello?
Yes, you should phone him AI and it'll do a translation to Treliving's.
Hi, Brad. What's happening? Yeah, it's July 1st. Yeah, what? Sam? It's Treliving. I know. Crazy. You know what? Send us a proposal.
Yeah, well, look
Sure. Yeah. No, it's no, nothing's been done. Yeah, he loves Toronto, loves that pressure and all that. The fans and
Thrives
the
on
media.
it.
He's built for that for sure. Well, I mean, it's a couple cups in a row in Florida. Yeah, but yeah, weather's great. Yeah, big pool in the backyard. and
Almost
the
too hot this time.
Ferrari in the garage. Yeah, 20. Yeah, all year round Ferrari. I wouldn't say, he really likes it here in Florida. Let's call it that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You've got you'll fax that over then. Okay, great. Yeah. We'll get back to you fairly quick. I think probably, Brad. Yeah. We'll probably have an answer for you pretty quick there. Appreciate the call. Bye. Yeah, he's drinking again or something. I don't know what he's thinking.
Well, yeah, look, like we saw this play out exactly a year ago with one of their best players. And Sam Reinhart said, I've been in a spot where winning wasn't there. I am here and I love it here. And I'm going to leave some money on the table.
Well, and does Marchand
How
fall
much?
into that? Because it was not great in Boston when he
I
left
think-
there.
I
Does
think
he
if
want to
they
move
make
again?
the finals, I don't see these guys wanting to leave at all. Now,
Yeah,
that doesn't mean
You're
that
looking at
Florida wants to
dynasty
keep them.
here if they stuff.
Do you know what I mean? Maybe I haven't looked at Florida's cap space and what they can accomplish.
Ekblad's up this summer, but if you wanted to prioritize Bennett and Marchand, I'd understand. Like Forsling and Seth Jones are all of a sudden you don't necessarily need Ekblad as much as you used to. He's been good, not superstar there.
You've got
Yeah, I think
Bobrovsky
he'd have a
at
hard-
$10 million for one more year. And I was thinking about this morning. Is for a guy, awful contract on day one, was a bad contract for a good chunk of, how everyone does these worst
6
contracts
years.
in the league. Well, he was at or near the top.
I
for
don't even
so
know if it was
long.
bad at the start. He just played so poorly early because he was the only guy that's got 2 Vezinas in the league
but
when
it was,
he signed it.
but it was $10 million for 10.
It's a lot of money, but he was the top goalie in the league at the time. But he then just turned into
I
a
don't know
pumpkin
what
for
your
3-4
art-
years.
Yeah, but which
So
makes
it
it
made
a
it
bad
an awful
contract.
contract. No, but you said it's bad from day one. It took a while for it to be bad.
Okay,
but it
day
was
2.
awful.
Jeez, you love to argue. Anyway,
So it wasn't a good contract for the first 4 years.
It was a nightmare, and then he was
Yes,
unreal.
So I
in
think
the playoffs
that's
2
what he
years
was
ago.
trying to say.
Yeah.
Day one was fine.
I'm just
but
saying this
after that-
is not the Bobrovsky that you had for the first good chunk of that contract.
Right, when you had Uyghur
now-
and Huberdeau on that team. Yeah.
They've got 10 playoff round wins in their last 4 years. They are as close to a dynasty as you're gonna. I mean, I guess the
One more
Lightning.
series to see, yeah. If they can get to the final, that's 3 years in a row. That's incredible. That's really hard to do. Like, I think Pittsburgh was the last team to do that in the late double O's. If I'm
they
correct.
might be trouble for Carolina. Just the way they play. I like Carolina's
trouble
team.
for
and
everyone.
You think it's got to be Carolina. Well, the last time Carolina got up against a tough squad, they lost.
Hey, buddies, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Also, if you could throw in a like and subscribe, it does help us out with what it is we are doing. And check out more at flamesnation.ca.